This past week, as I was reviewing the lectionary passages for today, I found myself drawn to the one in the text of Luke, in part because it's a gentler message of peace buried in the middle of what I found to be a potentially challenging text. All week long, I pondered the peace of Christ. What is it? How do we get it? How do we hold on to it, especially in these particularly challenging times? But this week felt different. I was aware of this sense of calmness and deep reflection. There were days when I thought, this must be what it feels like to stand on holy ground. I was savoring all this sense of calm, revealing this newfound understanding that I would come today and share with all of you. And then my computer began to challenge my technological skills, and peace was nowhere to be found. It struck me then that whenever we think that we've got it all figured out, God offers us an opportunity to practice humility and to dig deeper. Will you please pray with me? O God of grace, gather us as we hear a word from you. Help us that we might not lean into our own understanding, but look to you for the word we need to hear. Amen. Let's begin with a question. What does peace mean to you? What comes to your mind on Sunday mornings when you share the peace of Christ with those around you? When you listen, watch, or read the news these days, what thoughts scroll through your mind as you take in the enormity of physical, verbal, and mental violence that is raging all through our nation and around the world? Do you change the channels? Offer a prayer? Choose a side? When we look back at the world or U.S. history, it's hard not to wonder if violence isn't simply a part of the human condition. And therefore, there's little, if anything, we can do about it. Or let me put the question to you another way. What does peace look like and feel like for you? What images come to mind when you pray for peace? Are they big picture images like the end to a war, or is it peace that's found in the small gifts in life? The beauty of the ocean at sunrise, the laughter of children playing together. Or maybe it's here in this congregation where you are most mindful of being at peace, surrounded by a sense of Christ's presence in the people that you greet. As I was preparing this sermon, I became curious about what responses to that question might I find in the great source of all wisdom, the internet. How do others around the world define or describe peace, I wondered. It was interesting, and I must say it was a little bit troubling as well. While one individual posted an eloquent and reflective understanding of peace, most of the comments I found went something like this. Peace looks like this: a husband, my own potted plants, nice kitchen, a living room with a fireplace, and a deck with a fire pit. Also, a dog and 2 cats. The writer paints a beautiful picture, but is it peace in the deeper sense of the word? Is that peace like the peace we share with one another on Sunday mornings? It strikes me that peace for that writer was more about what she possessed to create a peaceful environment rather than finding peace within herself or in her community. So what does peace mean or look like for you? When I ask this question, the first thing that comes to mind, I imagine that for many of us, it's a vision that is either too large or too small. We want world peace or sometimes simply peace at home, meaning that all the children and or grandchildren get along with each other. One of the things that stands out when we look closely at what Jesus has to teach us is that peace begins in the human heart. It's not about creating a peaceful environment or changing someone else. It's about me. It's about you. It's about me and you becoming persons of peace. Too often, we try to change the other, the environment, or the culture, when perhaps what is needed is to look deep inside ourselves, to cultivate peace within our own heart. So then, at a time when there is so much division in our country, in our world, what might it look like to fill your heart with peace? The purpose being that we might love our neighbors as ourselves, that other people matter as much as we, our family, and our circle of friends matter. What would our community look like if we were to avoid lumping people into simplistic and often inaccurate categories? Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, gay, straight, Muslim, Jew, Christian. What might it be to eliminate all the categories that we use to define others? What if having a heart filled with peace means we love our enemies, turn the other cheek, offer our shirt to the one who took our coat? If all those possibilities sound familiar, it's because they are. They are just some of the many teachings of Jesus. Where a heart at peace begins is when we refuse to throw stones at those who think differently than we do. What if a heart at peace offers forgiveness without keeping track of the count? What if a heart at peace helps feed the hungry, offers water to the thirsty, and understands that the needs of others are as important as his or her own? What if seeking peace means that we begin to see others as God sees them? People worthy of the same love, forgiveness, and compassion as ourselves. How might that way of seeing others begin to change the world? When it comes right down to it, the truth is we can't change others. And I wonder if that is God's longing. One commentator notes that in this passage, Jesus is not sending out the 70 to change the people in the villages and places they will visit. In fact, Jesus doesn't expect us to go out and change others. That is God's work. What Jesus teaches us is how to change ourselves and our way of being toward one another, meaning that we become better listeners, that we seek understanding rather than our own way, that we respond to those in pain with compassion rather than judgment. In the end, judgment too is God's work, not ours. Desmond Tutu once observed that peace is not a goal to be reached, but a way of life to be lived. It begins in the human heart when we recognize another person's value as a human being, even if we disagree with them, even if their beliefs or their behavior is contrary to what we find acceptable. One reflection I encountered on this passage observed that when Jesus sent out the 70 without a purse, a bag, or sandals, he was not speaking literally. It is a metaphor, suggesting that the baggage of our past experiences, our fears, our wounds, our grudges, our resentments, our need to be right or better than someone else, it's all baggage that we carry. And it often gets in the way of real peace. Not the peace that the world gives, but the peace that we can receive and give when we walk in the footsteps of Jesus. So I leave you today with one question. What baggage do you carry? What wounds, what fears or needs might you need to leave behind so that you can be filled and share the peace of Christ more fully? Amen.